All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sophisticated Man YouTube channel. Obviously, I'm Tino Regano, men's development coach, joined by a very special guest today, Mr. David Hammond, self-developed.
Yes, sir. Let's go, guys. How you doing? Come on. This is part two, the second interview Tino and I are doing. So yeah, stoked.
So, yeah, guys, obviously, I had David. We had a discussion last time about, I believe it was the problem with modern men and kind of where we are as a state of masculinity. So, this is essentially just kind of a part two from that, and kind of just a jumping off point to the next topic, which is really what does it mean to be a high value man? And I know this is such a buzzword in the manosphere because it's everywhere and all these creators talk about it. And every guy seems to have a different definition of what that even means. So David and I here want to kind of discuss what our definition of that is and how you can start showing up like that in this 2022 generation we live in. And I'll throw it out to David first. David, what do you think a high value man is?
Yeah, great question. So, guys, the last podcast we did, it was the state of modern men, right? So, like the problem with men. And what did we speak of, man? That was a long time ago. You guys really resonated with that. We spoke of everything. Okay, so that was like the problem. Now we're gonna speak of. Okay, this is perfect actually because that interview was like digging the roots, right? We had a faulty foundation, so let's just demolish the whole thing, demo it, rebuild it back up. And now this being part two, we're kind of like layering like a pancake. What is high value now? Now that we have a sturdy foundation, you guys checked out the last one. We're like, okay, bet. How do we build from that? Being a high value man, in my opinion, wow, what a good question. I would say that all comes down to service, that comes to mission, that comes to you fulfilling your purpose as a man, fulfilling your role, your destiny, your karmic path, moving towards God, and then leaving a lineage. I know that sounded super like heroic, and it is, man. 100%, guys. That is what high value is. I don't believe it has anything to do with superficial means as far as, X amount of, I don't know, girls you bang or Ferraris and things like that. Don't get me wrong, man. That can come later and that can be a flex or an add-on. But I kind of view that as like, granted, I don't have a Ferrari, so maybe when I have one on my mind will change. But like, I view that as like kind of a fruit of the labor, right? I view that as God adorning you. Let's say this, right? I kind of relate it to jewelry. I don't know if you guys can see this, right? The cross or maybe a watch. When you're a well-balanced, well-rounded man, right? Got a good physique. I don't know. You take care of yourself. You eat well. Having a little bit of a watch or like some earrings or things like that, that is a natural kind of booster. But that in and of itself is not what dictates a high-value man. And a lot of men, let's be real, the majority of them, right? I'm not talking about like the Andrew Tates with Ferraris, but like the guys down here who feel they have to overcompensate with these like Gucci belts and ABCD. A lot of times, guys, there is this just lacking essence of masculinity, of purpose, of groundedness, and you can feel it, man. So that's kind of my quick answer.
I agree, man. I think that that's a good definition of a high value man. And I like what you said about how the material things don't essentially make it, because I know that that's what a lot of creators like to focus on. Well, it's the money, it's the status, it's the looks, it's the girls, the women, whatever.
Right.
But I think a lot of what you and I talk about is the fact that that stuff comes after being a man who is high value. Like that's like the rewards almost of being a man.
Yeah, and the thing too, guys, is like, this is so important because I feel the industry, the manosphere that Tino and I are in, right? I mean, whatever you want to consider the manosphere, I really do feel we're at a point where it's evolving now. Man, I'm so happy we're having this interview because like this is the new wave of masculinity. This is the new wave of the self-development community, right, guys? When we first began, and I relate it to like the fitness industry or any industry, don't get me wrong, it's actually very vital for at the beginning for it to be very like shiny, right? Because that allures people in. That's good. If you get into self-development, you're gonna get girls and cars, whatever, that's fine. But like at a certain point, and I believe the community now of men where they're really growing up and they have like this appetite for the next level. And I believe that's where these topics come in. So speaking of things like God or religion or real purpose or real masculinity or generativity, raising families, having a strong lineage, it's so much deeper and truer to the masculine core opposed to these more fleeting, superficial things that, yes, maybe they kind of got you on board, but you shortly realize after being in the community, the industry, after a few months or years, that ironically, it doesn't make sense to me, bro. I relate it to the fitness industry so much. It's like guys promoting steroids. They're like, or sorry, no, they don't promote that. They're like, they promote like a supplement, right? They're like, guys, I've been like, meanwhile, they've been lifting for like 10 years, man. Let's say they're natural. They've been lifting for 10 years, putting in all this work, but they're like, guys, it's just this pre-workout, right? Like, trust me, you take this, you'll be good. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, that can definitely help, but like, that's not how you got there. And I think it's very important for guys like you and I, especially now, to advocate and really push. Let's just say this is like the hard work. You guys are going to see me switch from coffee to water, right? Really just saying, like, this looks like mud. It's coffee, guys, but like promoting this and saying, guys, I understand this doesn't look as like flashy as you may think, but like not only is this what's going to sustain you, but this is beautiful. Like this, bro, you guys have all heard the quote, the journey is more important than the destination, right? Let's say this is like wine or something. And it really is, because if you cannot fall in love with this, then I'm sorry to tell you, man, but you're not going to go very far in this game. Man, I've been in this for almost a decade now. And don't get me wrong, guys, and I'm sure, Tino, you've been in this for a long time too. It compounds over time, guys. And only now, me being around 25, close to that, like I started this at 15, right? Fitness, psychology, women attraction, all this stuff. Only now, about a decade later, are things beginning to come full circle and click to where I would actually feel confident, right, in purchasing, let's say, a nicer car or shinier things. But like, man, this is so important too. You cannot, make no mistake, and I'm sorry, guys, I keep looking here at the screen and post there. You cannot, I mean, you can, but you should not prematurely buy these things that you are not comfortable or ready for. Like, that's like buying shoes that are too big for you. And you can fool the outside world, right? Like, oh, this guy's got big feet, right? Metaphorically. But your feet don't actually fit those shoes. And that feeling of like lack and insecurity, of like, it's imposter syndrome. Man, you one of my favorite quotes is, you can fool everybody but yourself. You cannot fake that.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe as men, it is so encouraged and important to fill up your metaphorical coffee. So when the time comes that you're upgrading to wine, you literally fill out those shoes. Because men will shit test you. I'm going to let you speak, Tina, but like, guys think it's so funny, man. Guys think in the industry that only women shit test. No, men shit test you 10 times harder than women. And they'll shit test more aggressively, right? Guys, like, think about it. How many times, Tina, you walking in the gym or walking down the street, right? You're a righteous man, and men just like grill you. They poke you. They talk shit about. This is what men do. Men need to poke to see, is this guy, is he hollow or not? Has he actually filled up his cup with coffee, or is this a facade? Boom.
Mm-hmm. That's very, very true about the testing, because I've had an experience before where I was like in the gym, and after getting so many, like, just I've been in like religiously, I've been in there like 3-4 times a week consistently. And after a while, you start to get, obviously your muscle grows and you get a better physique. Guys start to come up to you and ask, hey bro, like, how do I do this? Like, how do I fucking lift this weight? Like, how do you not they're asking me for like form advice on like bench press. And it's just like, it's funny that stuff is just kind of a natural, organic thing. You don't really have to force it. But to your point, it's very much something that you have to go through. You can't sidestep or try to avoid the journey or the hardship. It's something that is a must. And it kind of brings up a question that I have for you is like, what do you think that first step is for men to take to just like learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, to put it lightly?
Yeah. Great question, man. I think like, or especially like, what is one of the first steps men should take to begin their self-development journey, right? Which is more or less the same thing. That's great. Yeah. I made a video not too long ago. It was titled, if I remember, guys, I'll link it up here on my channel, 5 stages of self-development. And so that number 1 starts with the gym. That is one of the greatest initiatory, I don't know if that's a word, but initiations for modern men, because number 1, anyone can go there. I don't care where you live in the world. There are gyms everywhere. They're relatively cheap, guys. $20 a month. You can find a cheap gym. Like, there's no excuse. If you're telling me you can't go to a gym, then like like, bro, there's no excuse at that point. It's not like, some guys are like, oh, but I can't afford that mansion or this. It's like, bro, it's a fucking gym. You're paying for like Pornhub and shit, and you're telling me you can't get a gym. Bullshit. So go to the gym, because just like you said, like that's how I started at 15. And through that, just naturally, I went to a supplement store the other day, and I was speaking to the guy who works there, and I was like, bro, we're speaking about entrepreneurship, and obviously he's into fitness. And I'm like, when you start the gym, when you eventually go down the rabbit hole, the next phase is going to be, okay, I've built up my physical body. Let me try my mental, right? So maybe women attraction or psychology or meditation. It's a snowball. And eventually what I said to him, I was like, bro, if you're serious into the gym, you will become an entrepreneur. There's no way about it. Like that's just the next logical step because you're so focused on growing your physicality, your physique, that you're like eventually down the rabbit hole, it's going to come to money and finance. So a lot of people become personal trainers or online trainers. Or in my case, guys, I don't think a lot of people know this. I've said this before. My self-develop used to be a fitness channel. When I started on YouTube 6 years ago, it was called Hamondo Fit. It was literally a fitness page. And naturally, right, it progresses. But yeah, start with the gym and let the evolution unfold. So that's my answer.
I love that because that's something I try to preach too, is to at least start with fitness, have some kind of exercise routine, have some type of nutrition and health oriented goal. Because a lot of guys, I think the issue they have is like, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't have a grand mission. Well, you look yourself in the mirror. Are you satisfied where you are physically? Most likely you're going to say no. So you can at least start there. You can at least work on building your body, getting a better physique, better health and wellness and sleep, all that. You can at least start with the basics.
Absolutely. And guys, by the way, if I look a little tired, I'm sorry. This is like still kind of for recording is a little early for me. So bear with me. Okay. But this is real David. Anyways. Yeah. So, and that's the thing too. I just want to touch on quick before we get to the next topic is like a lot of men, right? I'm thinking of like 15-year-old David, right? A lot of men, we're under the misconception because I get this DM all the time. David, what is my purpose? I don't know what it is. It's not calling me, guys, you create your purpose and it unfolds as time goes on. So one of my favorite books, I think it's back there on the bookshelf. It's The Way of the Superior Man. Okay, guys. And what David Data speaks of is your purpose. I love this, bro. This guy knew this stuff. And I don't know, maybe that book came out like what, 15, 20, I think like the original version was like what, 40, 50, like a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know the exact date, but bro, this guy knew this stuff. And he spoke of an onion, right? Where your purpose is essentially like layers of an onion. So it starts off more superficial, right? Just going to the gym. That's fine. It starts off small. And eventually what happens is the lineage, God, the universe, he slowly pulls back layers. So after the gym, it's like psychology, women attraction, spirituality, purpose, mission, and it just gets deeper and deeper. Like even with the evolution of my channel, guys, please don't think like you need to have all this figured out. No, man, when I started, I was just making fitness vlogs, and eventually you feel this yearning, this hunger for truth. That's really what it comes down to, your core, right? You think of like earth, there's literally like layers of rock coming down to the core. So as men, we just come down to our core, which really what David Data said is just love, it's truth, it's purity. And that in and of itself is what masculinity is. That is what God energy is. So if you've noticed my channel, the span of the past 2 years or so, it's evolved tremendously, right? I'm sure Tino, I know yours has too. And that's just the example of you peeling back the onion. So let it unfold. Just start. You're not going to start with like layer 50 on onion. Just start where you're at with what you got. That's how it works.
Yeah. Even staying with the example with the gym, like you're not going to start benching 225 with 245 plates on both sides. You're going to start with a bar, maybe work your way up to 135. Yeah. Work your way to 185. And then like eventually you put it back on. So I agree.
Yeah.
100%. And I wanted to touch on that idea of purpose, because that's something that I really I know you talk about extensively on your channel. I try to talk about it a lot on my channel too. And I'm very much obsessed with this idea within the past 2 months of the dichotomy of consumption and production. And I'm in the belief that like men who are producing more than they're consuming are much more happy, much more fulfilled, like more attractive, more confident, just more badass, basically.
Yep.
And I think all that ties into purpose. So using that example, I guess, like how do you see men being more in the producing side of things than consuming? Because consuming is big time these days.
Yeah. So the question is like, where are men in the spectrum? Like, what should we do?
Yeah, basically, where are we, and how do you think we get over to that other side?
Yeah, great question, man. So this is great too, because again, the amount of clients I've had as of late that like have wanted to start utilizing social media, not to consume, but to produce, guys, being an entrepreneur is crazy. So there's definitely something in the air right now where men have this yearning. Again, guys, we're going through a spiritual cleansing and transformation. However you guys like to believe this, like all of us men are interconnected. I believe like there are different sectors of men, right? Kind of God puts us on the earth and it's like, all right, you're group A, y'all are going to be degenerate and just amount to nothing. Y'all are group B, you're going to be like in between. Y'all are group C. I believe like, and again, without ego, like if guys, if you're resonating with messages like this, we're cut from the same cloth, and we all grow and go through experiences at the same time. That's why I run a podcast called Self Develop Podcast. The amount of people that are like, David, man, you read my mind, or YouTube, this video came out at the perfect time. It's like, guys, it's we're all connected, right? We're all made of the same materials. Okay. The question though was, yeah, producing and consuming. Absolutely, guys. When you get far enough on your journey, now don't get me wrong. Like I said, the 5 stages of self-development. Let's say stage for me, myself, it was like stages 1 through 2, 1 and 2 for sure, maybe 3. Those are your consuming stages, right? Now you need to be smart as a man to understand the difference between, degenerate consumption and positive. But yeah, it's good to consume, guys. Just like you watching this interview, these podcasts, please do. I watch so many Elite Awesome videos, all these YouTubers, but at a certain point, it is very crucial. And I believe this is where men are kind of transitioning to the production phase. This is what creates a man. This is what turns a boy to a man, guys. Look, anyone can sit on their ass with all due respect and consume. Anyone can do that, right? We can all watch as many Jordan Peterson videos as we want and think like we're so righteous and following the path, right? You can even like, bro, I have the Bible right there. Like we can all read it and like, whatever it is, but like at a certain point, bro, it means nothing until you start living that, until you start doing that. So start that YouTube channel, start that Instagram page. And actually, very funny enough, like we say, there's stages to the self-development journey. I believe just in my own life, I believe it was stage 4. I said is your entrepreneurship stage. Again, guys, I'll link the video up here. And that is because most men, just like we said, right, when you start your fitness journey down the road, it's just, guys, I truly believe if you're a masculine man, you are going to have the impetus to want to start a side passion, a side business. And to do that, start an Instagram page, right? I literally had a client yesterday. We were talking about that. This guy was a very wealthy guy. He literally, bro, he's my age. He's 24. This guy bought a house. Like bro, he's caking, man. But like, he had this yearning. He's like, David, I'm still not happy, man. I feel like I'm doing this all to like impress my parents, ABCD, and I want something for myself. And we ended up coming that like the guy loved music his whole life, but he was so ashamed because his parents, bashed like you got to do ABCD. So I'm like, buddy, like there's nothing wrong with keeping your job and starting and just cultivating a side passion, start producing, you need some kind of side child. Because if not, man, especially if you live your life just for your career, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's amazing. We need that. But if you're doing that just for societal pressures, you will be unfulfilled as a man. Make no mistakes. Just have a side passion. Basically what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I agree, man. 100%. It reminds me of that quote that says like, knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. So
fact.
You could watch a video all day long, read 100 different books, but if that knowledge just stays in one place and you don't use it towards anything, it's basically worthless. I mean,
yeah,
to put it lightly, you kind of can't do anything with it. Fact. So I agree, man. Like, do something. It doesn't even have to be something creative. Like, if you're not that type of individual, do something more hands-on. Like, start a side landscaping business, or like get more into like building. Your bricklayer, like that kind of stuff. I mean, whatever it is you're uniquely drawn to, that's something that you can get into. But I agree 100%.
Fact. Yeah, man. Absolutely.
100%, man. But yeah, I think from that, because that kind of leads into what we were saying about the producing and the
consumption. Yeah.
Because guys get stuck in that for a long, long time. And I know that I sometimes dip myself into it by accident. I don't mean to, but like consumption, how would you define what that is? Because I want to make that clear for anybody watching.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, guys, and I actually wanted to touch on the last thing you said real quick. Yeah. When I say like start a side passion or something creative, like that doesn't literally mean like you're going to be painting and shit like that. Like if that's fine, in the client's case, it was music, but like Tino said, man, if that's bricklaying, if that's starting, I truly do believe, guys, creativity is not what you do. It's who you are when you do it. So like, bro, you can be the most creative fucking dust sweeper in the world. I'm being dead serious. Like if you want to, bro, I have buddies who like, they make like sculptures and stuff like tiles for houses and stuff like that. Bro, I've checked out some of these guys' work. It's beautiful, right? So it's not so much, please do not get that too caught up in your head as far as like, oh, but this guy's into music and singing and dancing. My thing isn't creative. No, that's BS, man. It's not what you do, it's who you are when you do it. So absolutely start the impetus of what you feel, and it will evolve over time. So that's a great question. And I know I still look a little tired and Asian, guys. Excuse me. We're drinking our coffee. This is my third one. Goodness gracious. I'm burnt out too, man. I'll be honest, man. That's what guys, you get into fitness, but if you get into powerlifting, be careful. Your nervous system gets fucking shot. But anyways, that's besides the point. So yeah, to answer the question, consumption in and of itself, guys, is just It's kind of like eating and shitting at the end of the day. Like you need to consume righteous food, right? Good nutrients, assimilate it with the body, and then use it, right? Use it, and then whatever does not seem fit to your body like secretes it out if it's not needed, right? So yeah, production consumption, that is the cycle of life. I'm constantly doing that, guys. You know, I'm following a lot of like conservative pages, Christian pages. I'm learning. I'm a child. Mark the Messenger. I know a lot of you guys follow that. Like I'm learning all these things. I'm a baby when it comes to the Bible and all these things like that. And that's fine. We're continuously consuming, guys, but to then ultimately produce, make mistakes, trial and error. And that's how we grow as men. So boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that is important with what you mentioned. Like like you're gonna consume. It's not something you can totally just get rid of in your life. I think where you consume things is also important. So the source of consumption, if it's something positive, it's something that
Mm-hmm.
is going to give you a skill set or give you some type of advice, some knowledge, some wisdom, that's positive. But obviously, consuming things like
Yeah,
pornography,
yeah, yeah.
things
Let's
like
speak about that. Negative
that kind of
consumption.
crap, it's not healthy.
No, man. That and just to kind of like back that off, like, yeah. So yeah, you're right. I completely forgot. Like, yeah, there's negative consumption. I'll be honest. Like,
Yeah,
you guys are smart. I kind of like skipped over that because I was like, you guys like just that's common sense. Don't look at degenerate dumb shit. But yeah, man, in our society, it is so hard not to look at that because it's force fed everywhere. Now, I make a business online, so like I post on TikTok or Reels. Like, dude, yeah, I get it, man. It gets shoved down my throat, all of you guys' throat, no matter where you go.
yeah,
The devil, Satan is everywhere. Okay, like bro, it's in the education system, it's in everything, and you just need to have the power of discernment to know, like, okay, this is not for me, guys. Don't, please don't. This is kind of like a little life tip. Like, don't blame the source, blame ourselves for consuming it. Like it's gonna be everywhere, guys. I can't control if like you know, a promiscuous woman, and again, I'm not blaming women, it can be men too, you know, a dumbass guy. But like if like look, man, I live in a condo with like, you know, pretty women ish. If women walk down the street with like promiscuous clothing, I can't control that. And I think this is a big thing too. Like I'll get a lot of guys being like, "Oh, but David, there are no good women out here." It's like, no. Your mind is just hyper fixated on the bad woman. That's your fault.
exactly.
Good and bad everywhere, no matter where you go in life, guys, it's going to be there. We have to literally train our minds to disregard the bad, so avoid negative consumption. And then when positive consumption is there, it's available to you to move into that. Like I know there are beautiful conservative women. I see them all the time. In fact, I saw like 4 of them just walk. That's why I keep looking because I have a window here. Like families, a beautiful woman with her husband, with a man. They have like a little child. Like there are beautiful conservative women, no matter where you want. I'm just outside Toronto, which is a pretty liberal city. It doesn't matter where you are, guys. Do not use that excuse as like, oh, there are no good women. Bullshit. They are there. It just depends what you feed your mind. So yeah, practice positive consumption. Boom.
Yeah. It's funny because like I know a lot of guys say that same thing, but then they're the same guys that like they'll go to the bar or they'll go to
Yeah.
clubs and be like, bro, there's no good girls here. I'm like, well, like look at where you're fishing. I mean,
Yep.
obviously don't blame the fish, blame where you're fishing. Like blame the
Fact. That's a good metaphor. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I agree, man, 100%. And it's like it reminds me too that if you ever seen the movie Fight Club, it's one of my favorite movies.
Little bit, not the full thing. I need to see it, bro. Why is it not
Such a
on
good
Netflix?
movie.
Do you know what I think it's not on Netflix? Because it's so based.
Literally because
I
it's
really think so.
that like conscious. I think so.
Yeah.
But the one scene in there, and it's not going to spoil anything if I say it,
Mm-hmm.
but Brad Pitt was saying how and it talks about consumerism very heavily in the movie, and he was saying like the things that you consume end up consuming you. So like
Wow.
it's very very important to just figure out where that source of consumption is coming from because it does matter.
You know what, man? It's so great you're saying that because I'll be honest with you guys. I'm kind of at a crossroads now with like, I'm not going to say which individuals, but like, so a quote in the Bible is you cannot serve 2 masters, right? And that's just fact. Like, you can't, bro, you can only fish at one pond, right? Where are you going to fish? You got to choose one. And like, I feel I'm at a crossroads now where, you know, as you peel back the layer of the onion and you go deeper on your path, there are going to be, this is just a general rule for you guys, people, situations, circumstances, jobs that are no longer going to serve you. There's going to be more of a contrast because you're like, maybe I could have kind of like let that slide a year ago, but now like it just feels so off. And like it's tricky because like I'm noticing that in my life where it's like there are certain brands or like people that I used to watch or consume that now I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just feeling like there's more and more of a contrast.
Mm.
And again, that's not your guys' issue, but like it happens. And actually look at that as a sign of growth, and put that up as repentance to God. This is very important, guys. When you don't know what to do, I was speaking to another client the other day. I was like, look, buddy, when you don't know what to do nothing. I got this from Elliot Halls. When you don't know what to do, offer it up as penance to God. Ask for revelation. Say, hey, man, look, don't make rash decisions. That's very important. Let it be revealed to you. Offer it up. Like literally view yourself like with this question, like, hey, man, there's two options, two pools. Can you help me out with that? Offer it up and just be still. Learn to be still as a man, meditate, and let it be revealed to you. Because a lot of times, too, like things do work out in your favor. And maybe these individuals, I mean, sometimes, yeah, bro, you got to cut them to the curb. But like other times, they things can evolve, like maybe the situation you're in, you're thinking like, man, I'm going to be dead broke. Like, this is a perfect example. I'm going to be dead broke. Like, this YouTube channel isn't working ABCD, but it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean necessarily throw in the towel and make a rash decision. Like sometimes, things take time to evolve. So offer it up to God, let it be revealed to you, and just don't make rash, permanent decisions. Just do what's in front of you. That's another quote from Elliot Halls. Do what's in front of you. So yeah.
Mm. I agree 100% with what you're saying, and I can literally offer you guys a real life example of exactly what David's speaking because I did this, and I think me and David talked about this before, just off camera. But I was telling him back in I believe it was April, I ended up going on like a 72-hour fast
Dang.
a week.
Yeah.
So it was
That's
like
nuts.
Friday to Sunday, I just wouldn't eat. And some people might think, whoa, that's fucking crazy. Why wouldn't you eat food? But like, I'm not going to get into it. There's a ton of health benefits to fasting. I mean, it's very well documented. But I wouldn't eat for Friday to Sunday. And I was kind of in the place in my life where I didn't know what I wanted to do with my channel, like moving
Mm-hmm.
forward, because a lot of the subscribers that I have, and obviously if you're watching this is on my brand new channel. On my old channel, I had like 22,000 subscribers, but they weren't exactly the kind of audience that I I felt like I wanted to develop, or like it wasn't the kind of content that I wanted to make. And I was in a kind of a crossroads. I was like, do I start a new channel? Do I stay with this channel, put the new content on that, or do I just scrap it all together? Like they had no idea what to do. So I fasted for the whole month of April and just literally just took a whole bunch of walks outside, tried to meditate a little bit longer than I normally did, exercise regularly, got some good sleep, and
Mm-hmm.
just tried to stay away from things when it comes to just consuming dopamine
Right. Yep.
away.
Fact.
So it's kind of like a mini dopamine detox too.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, I had like an epiphany about week 3, maybe my third week into it. It just kind of hit me out of nowhere. I was like, dang, my channel is this. I want it to be this. So I'm just going to delete this, scrap it, and start a new one. Like it was just so clear to me. So what David's speaking of is true, is like when you just kind of like step away from things, almost like not passively, but just kind of like proactively
Mm-hmm.
seek out that reflection and just like remove yourself from the activities and the daily things you're doing and just let things just kind of just let it be.
Yeah. Fact.
They will get revealed to you.
Absolutely, man. That's the tango of life. And again, I was speaking to a client the other day about this too. Like he was very as men, guys, we'll touch on this quickly because we got a bunch of I'm trying to get juicy in this bitch. I'm sure we got a bunch of like controversial stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah, guys, as men, there's a tango, there's a balance. Masculinity has so many pros and it's amazing, but one of the downsides of men having a more hyper masculine essence is we're attackers. This is what we do. So men are not good by nature at being still and just like letting things be. Me, and holy shit, man, this is something all of us men, we need to learn. It's a skill. And well, to be fair, I feel a lot of men actually have this because they're just like lazy and they don't really do shit. But like, man, if you're like a masculine guy, we by default just want to attack everything, and that can only get you so far because look, man, at the end of the day, like you can't attack everything. There's so many things out of your control, and this is a skill to learn to offer it up to God, to life, to the more feminine side of masculinity, which is, can I be okay being in the void of not knowing for a bit? Wow, that is that skill. And just to add on to what Tino said, yeah, like even with my channel as of late too, I've noticed like the YouTube videos I can keep them going, and I'm not gonna go anywhere with YouTube, but I felt this impetus to want to do something a bit different, and that's these interviews, right? So lately I've been reaching out to some guys, Mark the Messenger, ABCD. Hopefully, guys, I would like to do more interviews moving forward in the channel, right? And just growing that. Like I want to speak more. I want to be a bit more controversial. I want to put pen to paper. I want to speak to individuals, not just my camera, right? And that came through again the revelation. Allow God to reveal things to you by just taking a step back, right? Take a step back. He's peeling the onion and then attack again. So boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting balance of being like active and taking action and moving and going and building and growing, and then
Mm-hmm.
also at the same time knowing when to step away, knowing when to be like,
Yeah.
all right, let me just take my hands off the wheel for a second and let that stuff just marinate.
Fact, bro. Welcome to Entrepreneurship 101. This is why no matter, no, guys, no, this is why I think all men love entrepreneurship because it's so symbolic for life in a nutshell. Like you can't force feed something down to your clients or audience if like they're not resonating with it. So
Yeah.
it takes a level of humility. Like, bro, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I made a reel yesterday for Edge, and like, bro, I put so much fucking hours into editing it. Like, I thought it was fire. It's on my Instagram, guys, and it did not perform well. And bro, I was like shattered. Like, I was like, are you guys kidding? Like, what's going on? But like, I need to refine it. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe they took it wrong. Maybe I put too many logos in it. So they thought I was trying to like sell them something, which was not the intent. It was just, I thought it would be cool to put the logo in. So I'm like, okay, bet, I'll take that out next time. I'll make it more lifestyle. Like entrepreneurship and life is just a constant, you're throwing things at a wall. You're seeing what sticks and you're seeing what doesn't stick. So yeah, it takes a level of attacking, but then the flip end to that is being receptive of like, okay, I gotta pivot with this and it's a fine balance, man. And it's something that no man ever masters. You're constantly learning it. Dude, I don't care how big you are. Guys like How to Beast, right? Over 1 million subscribers. The same thing, guys. Life evolves. It's constantly moving forward. So we have to be moving with it. So yeah, entrepreneurship, despite what the media tells you, it is like the epitome of humility because like, bro, you work a 9 to 5 job, no matter what you do for the most part, you're getting paid the same thing. Entrepreneurship, no, man, your shit goes down. That's all on you. And you can't
Mm-hmm.
blame, bro. I cannot blame anybody. And, I can say, oh, the algorithm, this, but like, how far is that going to get you? I have to keep pivoting and adapting. So when the success comes, again, you don't take it too serious. You're like, okay, bet, but that was just a fruit of the labor. You know what I mean? So I recommend entrepreneurship to every man because it will humble the shit out. You'll realize like how valuable you actually are. As men, we kind of hold this persona, right? That like, oh, I'm the top shit. But it's like, buddy, let's put you in the real world and let's see. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, it humbles you for sure.
Dude, it does, man. And
Yeah, man.
the funny thing is, like, you you can run away from your insecurities and your weaknesses all day long, but if you're trying to be an entrepreneur or trying to be creative in this space, like that stuff will just like that would be front and center. What am
Yeah.
I weak at? What do I suck
Yeah.
at? That is literally just projected to you.
Yep. And that's why I'm telling you guys, as men, for all of you guys watching this, I do believe it is the next logical step for a lot of you guys. If you feel you are well rounded, right? This is where so many clients get when they speak to me, guys. They're at this crossroad where like they've been into fitness, self-development for a few years, and they're like, I want something more. I'm done consuming. Let me produce. Do it, man. And don't let what Tina and I said like discourage you. No, guys, it is such, even when it humbles you, man, and views aren't as high or things aren't, moving and grooving, it's such an amazing experience because that you're progressing. Like when I posted that reel, bro, I literally think that was like the best I've ever edited an entire reel. And like I still have that sense of fulfillment where it's like, okay, you know what? I know I'm getting better. Maybe it didn't perform as well, but guess what? Maybe the next one will because your internal progression is always moving, guys. And same with
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. Please do not get too attached to external metrics. And that's what entrepreneurship teaches you too. Be attached to the internal progress. Like with my channel, I'll be completely honest, from when I started to now, views they've gone down. Like when I first blew up, of course, I mean, this is kind of common sense, but views are going crazy. Everyone's like, who's this new guy? And eventually they kind of they wean down. And yes, I could get discouraged with that. And sometimes I do, but what I've come to realize and learn is like, yes, but the content, the wisdom, the experience I have now compared to then, it triples. It like there's no comparison. That's why I want to do interviews and live events that are unknown. Right after Tino, it's going to be a guy who I've never talked to. Right, I would not be able to do that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So put the value, right, to build the kingdom within, put the value internally because the external eventually will manifest and change from that.
Mm, that's very well said. I agree. Because like it happens, you're gonna if the second you get too attached to the outcome or the numbers or the
Mm,
views, subscribers, likes, all that stuff, it screws up your innate ability to be present and creative and like just locked in. And
fact.
that
And
happened to me
sorry,
a lot too. I was
Yeah,
gonna say it happened to me when I put a ton of effort into one video, just
yeah,
a whole bunch of funny little clips and edits into it. The thumbnail I thought, in my opinion, was like fire on point,
yeah.
and I put it out and it doesn't do well. And I'm like, damn, like
Dang.
that one was cool, I thought. So what the fuck? No one liked it.
Yeah. It hits, bro. Entrepreneurship will humble you, bro. I'm telling
Yes.
you, no matter who and where you are. But look at that as just one side of the coin, because then you do put out that video that you're like, it's all right. And that shit like does well. And you're like,
It does,
what?
yeah.
Yeah, man, because that's just life, bro. Like, don't get too attached. I was gonna say something real quick before we move on to the next topic. Yeah, my buddy said too. This is a real quick thing for you guys because I also have to pee soon. That's what happens when you drink 2 coffees and water. What am I saying? My buddy who's a musician, he's like, at the end of the day, he's like, David, just focus on your craft. And it's so true. He's like, bro, I'm so done focusing on these vanity metrics. Like, just get good, become undeniable. Like with powerlifting, I did a competition not too long ago, and I did not do that well. It was my third one. I got some technical errors, which again, like I did one before and I didn't. Again, I'm not going to blame, but like, okay, that makes me realize I got to come back undeniable. So when I squat, I hit so below parallel that like you there's no way a judge can call that off, right? Become so good at your craft, whether that's entrepreneurship, self-development, powerlifting, whatever it is, that like you become undeniable. Like there's no way you listen. So he's a musician. So you listen to like John Mayer, I think that's his name, or like Ed Sheeran, guys like this. So you get to a point, right, guys, that when you listen to the music, they've been doing it so long that you cannot deny the fact this guy's fucking good.
Right.
And that's when the views come. They'll come, guys. They'll come, the metrics, but be good at your craft. Just focus on that. Become the best. Become the best at photography, at videography, at self-development. So when people listen, that you're just undeniable. That is so crucial. I would rather that opposed to getting more of these views. But you can tell, you're like, has this guy been doing music like how long? It's you know what I mean? You listen to a song and like, no one's really vibing with it, but like the views and the streams are crazy, bro. No, man. You want to play that song, that video to like an elderly woman or whoever, and they're like, you can't deny this motherfucker's put in the time. That is power. Key.
Be undeniable. I love that. And it completely ties in full circle to what we were talking about earlier about like being high value, right? Because like you can put on the clothes, you can get the fancy cars, you can get the nice house, the beautiful women around you, but you can't buy what that actual process creates. You can't fake that.
Not at all, man. Not at all. What's done in the dark will always come to the light, no matter where you are, who you are. And that's why I think I want to like start doing interviews too, because like, not that I want to like poke and prod people, but like, guys, YouTube in and of itself, this will be the last thing I say before I rock a piss. YouTube, I mean, social media can be, obviously, this is common sense. You can mask a lot of things. So I felt that in my industry, I've kind of taken a different path because I actually didn't like where the industry was going. I was like, all of you guys are making the exact same videos. You're all hiding behind a camera, like, and it just sounds like regurgitated like chickens, all kind of like repeating the same thing. And I was like, man, fuck this. Like, no, I don't like this. So I ventured off. I went like way off the deep end, bro. Like I started getting into politics and religion and things like that, which like, is a general rule of thumb. People say like never get into. And I was like, no, I have to. Like, I want to learn. I really want to learn this stuff. And I'm just excited now to bring it all full circle because I feel by doing that, I'm now at a point where like I can come to these live interviews and things just make a lot more sense. And I would love to speak with a lot of these like red pilled YouTubers in person because like it's like I want to actually see like what do you know, because maybe they do know a lot, but I don't know, man. You can fake a lot of BS on YouTube. So it's a little tip for you guys because I got so many people reach out being like, David, let's get on a podcast, let's get on an interview, and they're like, David, I have like X amount of subscribers on YouTube, but it's like with all due respect, buddy, like I've seen the same video 800 times. You're not special. You're just regurgitating the same red pill BS pickup. Like there's no value there. Why would I want to have a conversation with you? Like you got to be unique, guys, even if that means you're a little off the deep end. In fact, just to finish it here, people that I've been reaching out to on Instagram or YouTube for these interviews, they're a little weird. like they're definitely, you don't hear their stuff all the time, but that's what intrigues me to them. I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like, I feel you definitely put in some work that can be valuable to the general population. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's just, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
So what do you have more questions, man, or take a little piss break and then come back
Mhm.
and do the rapid fire? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we can take a bathroom break and we can get into those questions.
Cool, man. Awesome. See you guys in 2 seconds. All right, guys, we are back. Let's get it going. So yeah, Tino and I are just going to. I asked you guys on Instagram about 20 minutes ago to ask some questions, rapid fire. So yeah, we're just gonna answer a few of them, and I'm gonna get. I didn't tell Tino what these are, so we'll just both give a good answer. So all right, man. I'll ask first. I'll get you to answer, and then I'll kind of elaborate on it.
Cool.
All right, so we'll start with the more like superficial ones, and then we'll kind of go to like the deeper ones. There's 6 here. Okay, so number one, what to do when you feel like you're stagnant? Pretty general.
Mm. Yeah, man. I mean, when you feel like you're stagnant, and I think it comes back to what me and David were talking about a little bit ago, is like just to really get reflective, really just to understand who you are to your core. And I always say to, I'm a big proponent of going on walks by yourself, just to like really kind of circulate, think about what it is that motivates you, what it is that you're fearful of, even things that
Yeah,
you
fact.
generally want to start doing. Like maybe you, for the longest time, wanted to really get into, I don't know, music, and you just, for some reason, just wouldn't get into it. Now was the time to think about that stuff. So when you feel stagnant, just start moving and just start getting, literally like getting on, like literally moving, like it walks by
Yeah,
yourself.
fact. Literally start moving.
Just
Yeah.
kind of get the wheels turning.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a lot of reflection and a lot of self awareness.
Yeah, great. Yeah, man. I would more or less give the same answer. Like when you feel you're stagnant, I think that is the time where you actually need to, you're kind of like in the crossroads of like we spoke of consumption and production. You're like right in the split where you're like, all right, God, universe, like what do I do? You know, I've consumed X amount, and I want to produce, but I don't know what to produce. So yeah, create that dissonance, create that stillness. Dude, I agree, man. I go for like 3 to 4 walks a day by myself. Again, like no music. I'm just chilling. And I'm just, that is so important. You're just still, you're waiting for the impetus. You're like, life, all right, what's the next step? Yeah. And you have to be so objective with yourself. You know, when I go for those walks, it's meditation. It's not like to feel happy and good. It's like, no, bro. A lot of times when I go for walks, I'm scared or I'm stressed and I'm this and I'm that. You gotta, how am I feeling, man? You put things into process. You just be objective with things. You kind of categorize it, and then from there, yeah, then take action. So yeah, that's a great answer. All right, next one. Okay, it's kind of a weird one, but all right, sure. Can weak slash slim guys become more alpha as a man? You know, I try to, but I become the Joker instead. So can weak slim guys become more alpha? I guess if you're a tiny guy, can you become more alpha? So what do you think, Tino?
If you're a skinny guy being alpha, so this is where I think guys get tripped up with the whole alpha definition, because they think alpha and immediately they think of like a guy who's
6'4", Chad.
chiseled jawline, yeah, like
Yeah,
shredded from head to toe. And I always think that being alpha really means like just being the best version of yourself, like authentically, originally you. So yeah, like you can be alpha as long as you are like, if you have a direction in life that you want to go down. Let's say you want to become I don't know, I'll stick with the musician thing because I've been
yep,
saying that. But if you want to be a musician, dedicate everything you're doing, all your activities, your thoughts, your hobbies to that singular purpose. And
yeah,
you're doing your own thing. People might not agree with you. People might think you're crazy, but because you're doing it, because it's
yeah,
something that is inspiring to you, that's what makes you alpha. It's not so much the like physical appearance. I mean,
right.
obviously you can get in the gym and like anybody can,
Mm-hmm.
anybody can increase their physique. But I think what really makes you alpha is just what you choose to do with your life, and regardless of what anybody else says.
Yeah, great, man. It's funny you say that too because I was literally thinking. So number one, just to quickly answer this, can weak slim guys become more alpha? Well, number one, like start going to the gym, get bigger. Like bro, we all start. I was skinnier than the majority of you guys. I was 135 pounds when I began, and now I'm like 190. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm the same height. I didn't change. Okay, like so go to the gym. Okay, number one. But yeah, I agree. Like when you said the thin guy, I have my one buddy. I'll just say his name. His name's Philip, and yeah, he's very thin. He's very thin, but like bro, he's a based ass motherfucker. He's like the only friend I have and he's a musician too because he dedicates his life, guys. Being alpha or masculinity is your level of dedication to it. Like this guy's, yeah, man, he works and sacrifices nearly as much as I do, maybe even just as much. And he's so there's no plan B. He's like, bro, this is it. And like, yeah, man, things on paper don't seem like they're working out great for him, but it's like that's when a man's created in the struggle, in the fire, and he's walking in it, man. And I know he is. And yeah, I definitely I would trust him more than a lot of other individuals because of the level of discipline and dedication he has to that. And like I respect that. So yeah, but I also joke with him. I'm like, you gotta live too, buddy. Doesn't hurt, man, having both. But all right, awesome question. Okay. So yeah, we got a few more. It's actually perfect that they like each get deeper as time goes on. Okay. The best trick to stop delaying tasks.
Ooh, stop delaying tasks. So basically, how to beat procrastination.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
I have an answer already because I that's why I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna give a counter answer, but you go first. You know.
sure. Well, coming from somebody who, for the longest time, and sometimes still do, I was a hardcore procrastinator, like
Mm-hmm.
hardcore. Like I would wait till like the last minute to do something.
Yeah.
And when I say last minute, I mean like back in school when I had like a test due or like a paper due, like on
Mm-hmm.
Friday, I'd be like up Thursday night getting it done type thing.
Yeah.
So, um, basically how to combat procrastination, you essentially just have to like break it down into small steps. Because I think, and I don't know if anybody else thinks this way, but sometimes when I look at something that's a really big task or something really grand, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta eat this amount of food, go like work out this many times per week,
Mm-hmm.
focus on this workout, like boom, boom, boom. I focus on all this at once. Yeah, it becomes overwhelming, and that just kind of keeps you stuck and like you procrastinate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just like focus on small wins. So what
Yeah.
is the
Break it down.
low hanging fruit? What is the
Sure.
first easy, very accomplishable thing?
Yeah.
Kind of just working your way up from that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like when things are too overwhelming, it's because like, yeah, you're looking at the macro. One of my favorite quotes is just do what's in front of you. So right now it's doing this interview. Then after that, maybe it's eating a good meal. Then after that, it's going for a walk. Then it's going to the gym. But like
Right.
when you wake up at the beginning of the day and you're like, oh my gosh, I have 10 things to do. It's like, yeah, bro, that's quite a bit. So yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Put it into like bite-sized things. And then what I would say to you, bro, is I'll be completely honest, transparent. You need to let the fire burn you. And I'm living proof of this in a, not a good way, man. I stayed up a little bit too late last night, and I knew I had this interview. And yeah, man, you can see it in my eyes. Like I fucked up. And the thing though too, maybe this is just my nature. I do that quite a bit. Like I burn myself, and I think I'm not saying always do this, guys, but like that's how you learn. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm only gonna really know for future interviews, like how do I perform at what level of alertness? Like
Yeah.
if you're always perfectly on time, everything's good. That's good. That's the ultimate goal. But like you don't know, like you don't really know yourself until you fuck up. And I encourage mistakes. Like I want to, so powerlifting as another
Facts.
example, I went way too hard with powerlifting and I knew it. I knew it's, this is how men are. I knew I was going too hard, but like maybe it was my ego or my pride. Like I was like, no, I'll keep going. And then I get burned. I literally actually took about a week and a half off, almost about a week and a half off completely from the gym just because of how, like, it wasn't good, bro. I was just fried. And now I'm getting on programs starting Monday, like a legitimate powerlifting program. But that took a level of, number one, me getting burned, to then humble myself to realize, okay, man, you know what? I'm not invincible like this. Like I'm still a little tired. Granted, I normally record later, but like I'm actually encouraging you guys, and I'm not saying this to like cope per se, but like you gotta make mistakes, man. So you're saying best trick
Yeah.
to stop delaying tasks. Well, you know what? Delay the task, get burned, and realize, oh shit, I lost a
Mm-hmm.
paycheck because of that, or the girl didn't ask me out. That visceral experience. Oh, next interview or next whatever it is, powerlifting program, you're gonna remember that. But you won't actually remember that if you're always perfect. You remember through pain. You know what I mean? If I tell you don't touch the stove, like, and you never do, like that's one thing. But if you actually touch it, you're like, bro, I don't give a fuck if you tell me. I don't care who tells me what. I know I'm not gonna. You get what I'm saying?
It's a very good
So
point.
so yeah, go through, get burned here and there, man. Like that's how I learn. I purposely get burned, and then I'm like, okay, don't do that,
Mm-hmm.
David.
That's
All right,
fair.
two more questions. Okay, great. How to know? You guys are funny when you type this. How to know when to invite a lady in your life? Oh, I guess he did say this. Fine, I'm just waking up. How to know when to invite a lady in your life when focusing on goals and mission? This is a great question. How to know when to, I guess, bring on a lady when you're focusing on your mission? Yeah.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one because I think, like, obviously, we're never going to be like perfect in the place that we need to be, where it's like everything's aligned or ducks are all in order, and then you know what I mean. Like
Right.
it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
So I would say you'll know you're ready when I have kind of an interesting answer. You'll know you're ready when you stop caring. It's kind of like a weird uh
Hmm.
a mix
Hmm.
of feelings. Like you just stop kind of like needing and like wondering, when is this girl going to come to me? When am I going to find her? Is she going to be this and she going to be that?
Great answer.
You're
Yeah.
just like, I mean, I'm cool with it. Like I'm cool
Yeah.
with being single. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And you're just like self-validated. I think when you get to that place, when you're just like, I'm good being me, I'm good if I don't, if I don't see a girl and date for a year from now, I'd go full monk mode. Like I'm cool. Um, and I think when you get to that point, then you'll be equipped, number one, to have a woman in your life,
Fact.
emotionally and mentally. But I think at that point um, yeah, you're just ready at that point.
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. Like, I was actually thinking about that the other day. Like, no, that's so true, man. With so many areas of life, like when you're building a business, right? You first have to be good as the employer by yourself to
Yeah.
manage the business, right?
Hmm.
Employees are just an add-on, but like, what happens if the like? I remember I used to work when I was younger at Baskin Robbins when I was like 16 to 20, and if I can't work, let's say employees can't come, the manager, the boss, well, he still knows how to run the shop, right? Like if no
Exactly.
one can come, he knows what to do. But like, bro,
Yeah.
if you can't fully run that by yourself, how can you bring on a woman or employees? That's how I view them, right? Or friends or business partners. You can't, because if they leave temporarily, this is how a lot of men are. If they leave, they break up with you. You're still hollow, right?
Yeah.
So we got to be able to
Yeah.
run this shit, and that's why it's a great topic. I've been single now. I was with a girlfriend for wow, almost 5 years. Again, great girl. We just went down two different paths, and I've now been single for probably about 4 or 5 months now. And I almost, guys, my mom will ask, right? She's like, "So, like, any new girls in your life, David? I'm gonna go see my family soon." And I'm like, "No, mom, I'm on monk mode. Like, I'm building myself as a man, and like, I'm almost at a point where like I don't want to be in a relationship right now because I feel I'm leveling up so much that I don't want that to stunt that. And I'm not saying a woman's going to stunt that process inherently, no, but
The wrong one will.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Like again, it's neutral, right? The wrong one will. A good
Yeah.
woman can help boost that up, but like it's kind of like the gym, right? If I'm making so much progress and like it's working, why would I want to change something now? Like
Mm.
I can hold off a bit more. I'm chilling. Like let me keep building my frame as a man, my base. And like I always say to men, the wider your frame of your base is, the higher the quality of employee or the woman you can take on. So yeah, let that be a testament to you guys. I've been single now for like probably going on 5 months. I've never been more fulfilled. I've never been more based, and I'm grateful. I'm falling in love with the process of growing myself. That like I have no, like I'm very neutral when it comes to a relationship. When God sends me my next woman, my future wife, like I'm chilling. Like I let him do it. If it's now or if it's in 6 months or a year, like buddy, like we're
Hmm.
chilling, we're growing our base, and that is always number one. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I like that. I
great
want to
question.
touch real quick before we
Mm,
move on, because I
yeah.
kind of have like a flip side to that coin perspective. So like David's been single for a while, right? And for the past 5, 6 months, I've actually been in a relationship. I have a girlfriend right now. And it was kind of the same type of thing that we're talking about. I deleted all my dating apps. I was on Hinge for a while. Granted, I was on Tinder. I was one of
Mhm.
those guys for a minute, but I deleted all that and I stopped. I was like, screw this. I'm just going to focus up. And one of the girls I met on there was a girl she's my girlfriend right now, but we had met originally on Hinge, but I deleted the app and I was like, all right, screw this. And then we didn't talk for like, I don't know, a couple weeks. And out of the blue, I was just like, I think I was working at the time. I was like doing some door dashing and I get a text from this person. She says, hey, what's going on? I was like, who is this? And then I found out it was that girl, but it was like at the time I didn't, I
Mhm.
wasn't even thinking about getting a girlfriend. I didn't care. I was just focused on myself. But it just kind of like David saying, it just naturally kind of happened. And
Mhm.
that's just usually how those things work.
Yeah, fact, guys. Real quick, like I always say, and I know like relationships are passive; they're not active.
Yeah.
Relationships, I always view as God will send you the right friends, business partners. Whenever it's a person, a relationship, that's not in your control. That's passive. The only thing that's active or truly masculine is, what that means is masculine never changes. Relationships, when something's feminine, it means it comes and goes, right? You can't control that. The only thing that's masculine is your purpose, is what's in front of you, right? So when you hit a certain level, God will send you the right people. But a lot of times, these people that when you get your wife, like obviously the goal is to have that for life. You know, when you reach a certain level, God will send you like a permanent partner. But like until then, man, just because you're with buddies or friends or business partners, don't think that means they're going to stay forever, that they're obliged to stay forever. No, man.
Right.
Like relationships are like water. They come and they go, and God sends you them and takes them away. When
Mm-hmm.
like the relationship I was in for 5 years, he takes them away and gives them to you when he sees fit, right? He's like, okay,
Yeah.
you guys have leveled up, you've done well. Now let's move on to different things, right? So
Mm-hmm.
again, don't get too attached. And like Tino said, like just build your stuff, and all of that will be taken care for you. You don't have to worry about that. So, all right. Last question. Speaking of God, this one's kind of the deepest one. Is what does it really mean to fear God? Fear life. What does that mean to you, Tino?
Mm. Dang, that is a deep one. What does it mean to fear life, fear God? I mean, I guess in my definition, I think what it means is to almost just kind of accept life as it is and kind of like this kind of just came to me honestly because I've heard that expression a lot, like be a God-fearing man. I was like,
Right.
what does that exactly mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think to me, it's just kind of like understanding, our own mortality as human beings and like what life truly is. Because like eventually, not to get too morbid on you guys, but all this is going to come to an end. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like David and I are going to move on. We're all like, everybody's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to like eventually just kind of perish. And I think to me, what that means is accepting that truth and almost using that as a way to kind of push you forward in life. It's like, okay, I'm not, I don't know if fear is the right word, but it's, you're aware that the end is going to happen in life and just people that you love, people that you know. Um, and kind of using that as almost motivation to be like, I got to build everything I can while I'm here with the time that I do have, and kind of using that as a propeller almost. So I would say it's kind of just accepting life in its totality and using that to kind of help you move forward.
Yeah,
I
absolutely. No, yeah, great. I think it's the same thing. Number one is accepting the inevitable, which is death, which is something like when I speak about death so like freely on my Instagram and stuff like that, like, oh, I'll die in 5 years, we're all dead in 5 years. I kind of joke about that, but also being serious. Like people are like, man, how do you speak about that so loosely, guys?
mm,
Number one, yeah, that was a natural thing that happened when I was around 18 or so. Like I just accepted the mortality of everything. I accepted. I'm like, man, I'm gonna die. We're all gonna die.
yeah.
And like it was so visceral at that point where it's like all of this is temporary. Like, and that's why I joke it. I'm kind of serious, but I'm like, dude, you got 5 years to your name. You better move. Right. And
Mm,
and to answer your question, to be a God-fearing man is like, bro, because you have 5 years to your life, the way I view it is you need to rack up good points, okay, in this life. You are going to die and there will be a judgment, and you better hope that you were on mission and you did what God was revealing to you. You were producing, you were doing what was required of you in this life as like a
mm,
coach in the sky. Because if you give some BS performance, man, I cannot see your soul going to a great place. Again, we don't have to get into heaven and hell per se, but like if there's a spectrum, which I do believe there's a spectrum, like you want to get as high as you possibly can. And the way we do that, guys, just like a test, is like you study for it, you put in the work. Because if you don't, yeah, man. So you have to be a God-fearing man, 100%. Like you're gonna die. But,
mm,
but but I mean that's with anything in life. Like with your job, like if there's no level of fear that you're gonna get fired if you slack off, then you'll do a horrible job. There has to be a healthy level of stimulus, which is really what it is. So yeah, man, be on purpose, do what you can, and know that you're gonna die. And once you truly begin to, I think that's the first step of a man's self-development journey, or when he really gets deep, is he realizes I'm not here forever. And once he realizes that, all this BS of like, what is Sally gonna think of me if I post this, all that shit fades, because you're like, bro, Sally's dead in 5 years too. Like none of this shit matters. Like, yeah,
it's
do what
true.
you can, enjoy your time, but like, bro, don't get too attached to this stuff. So anyways, man, I
Mm.
think that's great. We can finish it there. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love how they progressively got deeper and deeper with each
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, literally. Dope.
I like it.
Cool, man. All right. Well, we can if you want, we can, or I'll cut this. We can finish here. You good on your end. We can kind of do our outros and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Cool, man. So I'll let you go first, and then you be like, all right, David, peace. We'll say peace, and then keep it going, and then I'll do my outro. Okay.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much the interview with David here, self developed. I really appreciate the conversation. We definitely covered a lot. of subjects involving masculinity, purpose, self-development, all that. And go run this back a couple times and watch it, because there will be things that you probably did miss. So go back and check it out. Obviously, David, where can they find you if they want to look more into your content?
Yeah, 100%, guys. So the channel self-developed. I'm sure Tina will link it down below. That's the YouTube channel. Instagram's I'm David Hammond. But yeah, check it out. And Tina and I'm sure you'll be seeing more of us. But yeah, just enjoy this. Apply it, guys. Produce, right? You've consumed. Now let's go produce. And yeah, I'll see you guys at the top. Let's get it.
100%. Yeah, use this information. Don't just, watch it and then never do anything with it, because this stuff will help you in your journey. So I'll leave David's stuff down below. You know where my links are. They're in the description as well. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys.
Peace.